what infuriates me? Tags. Scratchy, useless, and who even reads anything beyond the size, anyhow? Especially those one-size-fits-all tags. 'Cause one size fits no one, especially someone with a big old head like me. Seriously, only the biggest hats fit my big old noggin. I have tried on hundreds of hats over the years. And just as a lot of hats don't fit me, you know what else doesn't fit everyone? IoT connectivity. There is no one-size-fits-all connectivity solution. Maybe a transceiver will do. Maybe it's a system on chip or a module or a system on package. And that doesn't even start to address all of the standards, protocols, and peripherals. Phew. Hi, I'm Amelia Dalton, host of Chalk Talk. We all know that without connectivity, IoT is just a thing. My guest today is Pavan Mulabagal from Semiconductor, and we're plotting a course for your next IoT design. We're chatting about the challenges of designing an energy-efficient IoT solution, and we're going to rip off every tag we come across. Or not. And before we get started, don't forget to click that link. There you can find more information about energy-efficient IoT solutions from Semiconductor. Hi, Pavan. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Amelia. Happy to be here. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for asking. Okay, so we're talking about one of my all-time favorite subjects, IoT. But before we get into the details, what are some of the markets that you're seeing that are the most impacted by IoT?
It's a wonderful starting question. If you think of IoT, IoT influences pretty much every single market segment.
Sure.
And on this slide, we can go through some of the verticals where IoT makes a real meaningful difference, either in terms of cost reductions, operational gains, efficiency gains, or new markets that good revenue opportunities.
Okay.
And things like smart cities, industrial IoT, automotives, personal IoT, smart homes, buildings, you name it, every single vertical, one way or another, is going to be touched and influenced by IoT. And by some accounts, the market's going to be huge. The numbers are all over the place, but they're roughly in the 20 to 30 billion connected device ballpark by 2020.
Wow.
So it's a great market to get into, and it does have a potential to not only make economic gains, but also change and improve quality of life.
Absolutely. So what's your overall position in the IoT ecosystem?
Right. So Semiconductor has traditionally been a manufacturer of semiconductor parts. We do have a wide variety of parts, including image sensors, environmental sensors, ultra-low power connectivity solutions. We have a huge portfolio of power products, motor drives, you name it. We cater to all different functional blocks within a device. What we have realized, especially when we think about a market like IoT, is having parts is one thing, but we need to provide solutions.
Right.
And that's what has embarked on over the last few years. We've taken those semiconductor parts, we've turned them into modules. In some cases, we've created development kits. We take care of providing firmware, software, and development environments so that our customers can get a leg up when they design. They can just launch into their design, and we do all the hard work of making sure the system solutions are available to our customers.
Okay, but you guys aren't a one-stop shop, though. Let's talk about those end-to-end solutions in this space.
Absolutely. That's a very good observation. When you look at a typical IoT workflow or a solution, you do have devices on one end, you do have platforms, and they typically connect to a cloud of some sort.
Right.
With a lot of data analytics and machine learning being applied in the cloud. And plays on the left-hand side of this picture. Basically, we make devices, we provide firmware and software, including protocol stacks, drivers. We create platforms, like I mentioned previously, including sensor nodes, node-to-cloud prototyping platforms, and we do partner with cloud providers. Partnering with the cloud providers enables us to provide to our customers a comprehensive end-to-end solution.
Okay, so before we get into some real specifics, let's talk about the various parts that build an IoT device.
Absolutely. It's one of those things where when you think of IoT, one size fits all is probably not true.
No.
not true at all. But you have to start somewhere. So we took a crack at figuring out, okay, what does an end device look like? What are the building blocks within an end device? And as far as IoT goes, things like sensors, of course, you want to sense your environment, be it visual, be it environmental sensing, using image sensors or proximity, moisture, humidity sensors that we have in our portfolio. Those form one of the key building blocks of IoT for us. Then, of course, the most important piece of the IoT is the connectivity side of things.
Sure.
And within the connectivity realm, there's both wired and wireless connectivity solutions.
Yeah.
Specifically on the industrial side, there is still quite a prevalence of wired connectivity, and in some cases where you have large amounts of data to transfer, wired is still a preferred way to transfer. We do have solutions that cater to both wired and wireless connectivity, things like Bluetooth Low Energy, Zigbee, Sigfox, Power Ethernet, specifically Power over Ethernet, CAN bus, HART. We have products that support these various protocols. And then in certain instances, you're connecting actuators, things like lighting solutions or motor control to your IoT devices.
Right.
And we do have a family of products that address that need as well. Last but not least, our portfolio of power management, which includes all the way from wall adapters to energy harvesting solutions to wireless charging, round out our portfolio of all the building blocks, if you will, that go into an IoT device.
Okay, so Pavan, the Internet of Things is just a thing without connectivity. What do you guys offer specifically in this space?
Yes, very well said, Amelia. Yes, the Internet of Things wouldn't be Internet of Things without connectivity solutions, obviously. So connectivity solutions come in various flavors. So at the lowest end, you do have transceivers, ones that just transmit and receive data. Then you can build upon that by adding some additional peripherals and some processing element and convert them into system on chips. You can take it a step further, make it into a module, or put everything together in a system and package. And this is what ON is good at doing. One of the key focus areas for ON, as far as IoT is concerned, is enabling of really, really low power devices. And towards that, having a good portfolio of low power radio is very important. And that's what we have in our product catalog. So yeah, having a chip is one thing, but then supporting the right stacks and making sure the stacks are all certified worldwide is something we do as well, so that it becomes easier for our customers who choose to use these parts, these wireless connectivity parts.
Okay, so when it comes to wireless, what are some of the key attributes I should pay attention to when I'm picking a wireless protocol?
As you know, there are so many wireless protocols to pick. And within the wireless space, if you look at some of the key attributes that designers typically pay attention to, things like range. Does your solution need to communicate over short distances or long distances?
Yeah.
Latency. How quickly do you want your device to communicate a state change or some status information? Power consumption. That's, if you're a battery powered device, it's extremely important.
Sure.
Power consumption goes hand in hand with power efficiency as well. How much energy do you consume in transmitting a bit of information? And of course, in certain scenarios, if you have like a video camera and things like that, data rates are important.
Yeah.
So depending on the application, all of these attributes need to be considered when it comes to picking the right solution. And what we have tried to show here is a sort of a graph of how the technologies compare along these attribute axes. For example, if you look at something like Sigfox, it's got a long range, it's extremely low power, but at the same time, it's very, very low data rate.
Yeah.
So if you are a sensor node communicating status information over long distances, low power wide area network like Sigfox is an ideal choice. Whereas if you want a low powered Bluetooth solution, we do have parts that cater to that market as well.
Okay, so let's talk about Bluetooth. And I've heard a lot of cool stuff about Bluetooth 5 these days. Let's talk about your solution in this space.
Absolutely. Once again, the thing that ON does very well is energy efficiency. And RSL 10, which is our Bluetooth 5 SoC, which was launched last year, is one of the best, lowest power Bluetooth SoCs in the market. And we actually had it benchmarked using EEMBC. There's a link there where you could go to the EEMBC website where they compare multiple SoCs from different vendors.
Okay.
And RSL 10 was the first SoC that crossed 1,000 points. The higher, the better power efficiency the part is.
Nice.
And, in terms of concrete numbers, it's got the lowest sleep power at 62.5 nanowatts.
Wow.
And, when you think of IoT devices, most of the time those devices spend in sleep mode.
Sure.
They wake up once in a while, do their thing, go back to sleep.
Yeah.
So if you're maximizing your battery life, the thing you need to pay attention to is your sleep mode power. That's where RSL10 really shines. And it's also got the lowest receive power at 7 milliwatts. And it's an SoC, so it's got an M3 processor in it, and it also has a low-power DSP for some additional computation that your application may need.
Cool. Okay.
And last but not least, the physical size of the part is also extremely small. And if you think about the device, packaging, and everything, it aids in making a really tiny, low-power IoT device.
Excellent. So what if I want all my RF peripherals all together in one package? I don't really want to mess with all of that.
Absolutely. And especially given the product cycles these days, everybody wants to move faster.
Right.
And the way we help them is to take out all the dirty work of tuning the antennas and making sure the certification's all done.
No, thank you.
You're welcome. So we do have what we call a SIP, system and package. It includes antennas, your power management stuff, filtering. Everything goes inside that 6x8 millimeter tiny package.
Nice.
And this RSL10 system and package is fully certified. It's certified FCC, HC, etc., and it'll make your design and activity a breeze. I mean, you don't need to really hire antenna experts. You just plop down this device on your board and off you go with your Bluetooth solution.
Excellent. So can we get under the hood and look a little closer?
Absolutely. RSL10, it's a Bluetooth 5, so it does support data rates up to 2 megabits per second, and it's got support for proprietary protocols in case somebody is interested in using a proprietary protocol in addition to Bluetooth or instead of Bluetooth.
Okay.
There is built-in power management as well, and this is what enables us to run RSL10 on a wide input voltage range. It can go as low as 1.1 volt all the way up to 3.3 volts. It's got security built into it, and from a flash memory standpoint, it's got about 384 kilobytes of flash, which in most cases is more than enough to put your Bluetooth stack as well as run some application programs.
Okay, so let's talk about your other low-power solutions that apply to maybe the same protocol.
Right. So the wireless protocols, typically when you look at them, they're classified based on the range.
Right.
And when you look at so-called personal area networks or short-range wireless protocols, one of the other popular wireless protocol is 802.15.4. This is an IEEE protocol which defines the MAC and PHY layers. And right from get-go, it's been designed for ultra-low power consumption. And NCS 36510, a part in our portfolio, is very well suited to run 802.15.4 applications. Some of the typical applications where you see 802.15.4 used are in residential automation, building automation, smart homes, even smart grids. And again, the theme for us is ultra low power.
Sure.
So the 36510 is also designed along the same lines. And from a power consumption metrics numbers standpoint, you have a receive of about 6.7 milliwatts and a transmit of 6 milliwatt at 0 dBm. This is again an SoC, so it's got an M3 and plenty of flash memory for your application code. It supports AES 256 as well as has a true random number generator. As you know, security is one of the biggest concerns for a lot of people deploying IoT solutions.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm also hearing a lot about Zigbee these days. What do you guys have in that area?
Sure. So Zigbee runs over 802.15.4.
Yeah.
And so we've released a new stack on Zigbee that's available to download from our website. And the stack comes from DSR, and it's a certified stack. And in order to enable our customers to rapidly design products with the Zigbee protocol, we do support development kits, which also come with an SDK as well as over-the-air support, a bunch of demo projects, so you can be up and running in no time. And, we're also working on providing thread and 6LoWPAN stacks, which can run on top of 802.15.4 as well. So we do see continued demand for these low-power wireless personal area networks. Mm-hmm. In some instances, this goes beyond personal area.
Right.
But that's been our focus on enabling as many of these protocols and making the design and activity as easy as possible.
Cool. Okay. So far we've been talking about short range, but what if I need longer range than that?
Excellent. Yes, absolutely. When you think of smart city solutions,
right.
Like, you want to monitor parking spots, or, you have environmental sensors all over your city and you want to take readings and send them to a central place.
Right.
You do need long range. We're all used to our cell phones, which have extremely long ranges.
Right.
But the current protocols on the cell phones, they're not suited for running little tiny edge devices.
Yeah.
So there's a whole category of protocols that has come about called low power wide area networks. Sigfox is one of them. LoRa and narrowband IoT are a couple of other low power wide area technologies technologies. We've been one of the first adopters of Sigfox technology. And when you think about Sigfox and what makes it such a low power technology, some of the key features are it's an ultra narrowband technology. It runs on 200 kilohertz. And a very good thing about things like Sigfox and LoRa, they run off of license-free spectrum. So you're not paying somebody for using a licensed spectrum. Sigfox is not optimized to transmitting video or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
It's optimized for sending short messages, and the way they've further optimized the protocol so that it's as low power as possible is taking out any signaling overhead. This results in really long battery life devices. And when you think of node, let's say you bury a sensor in a parking lot, you're not going to dig up that road every year. I mean, you're looking at like 10, 15 years kind of battery life.
Right.
And in order to enable that, you need extremely low power solutions, and especially range is important. You go with these solutions like Sigfox, which are low power wide area network solutions. On the product side, we do offer a certified system on chips for Sigfox. Sigfox, interestingly, has slightly different variations depending on which geographical area you operate in.
Yeah.
So we make sure that our parts are all certified and tested, and we make sure we support worldwide networks wherever Sigfox is deployed. We could use our Sigfox solutions.
Cool. Okay. So, but for certain designs, when I really want to optimize for power, but I don't necessarily need to follow a specific protocol, what should I look for here?
That's a very interesting question. In fact, before the advent of a lot of these low power protocols, and plus for security reasons, people used to rely on proprietary protocols. The market's still there for proprietary protocols, and one of the best things about proprietary protocols is you are in control of the protocol, end to end. So your network structure, you could make it as simple as complex. You are under full control of the protocol. So what that allows you to do is to come up with a solution that is completely optimized for your use case and also the lowest power solution out there in the market.
Nice. Okay, so what are you guys offering in this proprietary RF space?
Yeah, so in keeping with the theme of offering different solutions for different customers, we go all the way from offering transceivers to system on chips.
Yeah.
And of course, these days, just providing an IC is not enough. You have to have all the supported infrastructure around it, all the software. So we do offer software tools as well so that people can build their protocols using the tools we have.
Nice.
And some of the tools that are listed here, you can also check them out on our website.
So another part of IoT is sensors, of course. And one of the biggest areas for sensors are image sensors in particular, right?
Very true. We all know that 1/6 of our brain is dedicated to processing visual information.
Right.
So there is a lot of information that you can glean by sensing your visual environment. And Semiconductor is one of the leaders when it comes to image sensors. And one of the trends that we see in the IoT space is adding the ability to visually sense your environment, be it for security purposes and going beyond just feeding a video stream, but looking at the scene and figuring out who is there, who is not there. Appliances are adding image sensors to them. It's not too far out in the future where your fridge is going to tell you that you're out of milk and automatically places an order.
Right.
So cameras and image sensors are getting in lots of different places, like vacuum cleaners, drones, AR, VR. So there are a huge range of applications for image sensors. And Semiconductor has one of the best and broadest portfolios as far as image sensors are concerned. Some of the technical merits of our solutions include having a very high dynamic range. This is extremely important if you have a bright source and a very dim source on the same scene and you're trying to capture that.
Sure.
If we have solutions that actually go up to the infrared, near infrared plus is what we call them. Global shutter, especially if you want to capture fast moving activity, global shutter solutions are the way to go.
Okay.
I mean, think of robotics or even machine vision applications, industrial settings where things are moving.
Yeah.
You don't want to capture a distorted image.
No. Yeah.
Global shutter enables you to capture an entire image in one shot, thereby reducing all the artifacts involved with the rolling shutter kind of an application. When you talk about automotives and using some sort of driver assist systems, you need to also make sure that your image sensors have LED flicker mitigation. We have solutions that do that. And the other thing that our sensors enable you to do is to go from really, really low light to extremely bright light conditions. So when we think of image sensors, one of our key plays is to make sure that we have image sensors that are catered to various applications and the needs of those applications. Even on the image sensors, which typically nobody associates low power, we have optimized in certain sensors, we have optimized their power consumption. That way you could operate the image sensor in modes where it operates mostly in low power mode, and when a trigger event happens, it switches to a higher power mode. So this theme of low power continues even on the image sensor side.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just to illustrate on a single graph, we do have a lot of parts that cater to various optical formats as well as resolutions. As I mentioned earlier, we do have rolling shutter sensors, global shutter, we make CCDs, and various resolutions and optical formats that we make available to our customers.
Excellent. Okay, so what if I want to monitor somewhere that's hard to access, like underground or within a wall? What kind of solution would be good here?
That's a very good question. In fact, that has been one of the challenges of monitoring things. Think of finished products, or you have a basement, you've got your water heater, you want to monitor if there are leaks, or you want to monitor if moisture is seeping into the concrete, or for that matter, there could be areas which are hazardous for humans to go in and monitor on a regular basis. I mean, there are solutions today, but they are very, very clumsy. It's very difficult to implement solutions like that. So what we have in our smart passive sensor portfolio is a solution for that problem. These are battery-free and wireless RFID tags.
Okay.
But these are more than just an ID. These are sensors. So you can take these tags, we call them peel and stick. You peel them off, stick it to the surface that you want monitored, and forget about it. There's no maintenance involved.
Cool.
And the way you read the sensor is by using an RFID reader, which obviously we also provide along with this product. And you energize the sensor using the RFID reader, and it gives back the parameter it's monitoring, be it temperature or moisture.
Nice, okay.
And as you mentioned, locations hard to access, behind walls, or locations a little hazardous to access. You just stick the sensor in there and you can probe the sensor from outside, get the reading. Or even space-constrained applications. These sensors are really tiny, so you could take them and stick them in places like doorways, bandages, for example.
Yeah.
And of course, these are lower cost sensors. I mean, cost is also an important criteria when it comes to IoT devices.
Sure.
And we want to make these as low cost as possible. So when it comes to applications of these sensors, you can think of predictive maintenance applications, of applications that involve monitoring equipment temperature or moisture, or even when it comes to cold chain monitoring, where as your food or perishable moves throughout the supply chain, ensuring that it stays at the right temperature. The advantage of this type of sensing technology is that there's no maintenance. Just because these are battery free, you just stick it and you probe it wherever you want, and you get the reading out. Okay,
so power management obviously is a huge part of IoT design. What kind of power management solutions do you guys have?
Absolutely. When it comes to power, Semiconductor has an extremely broad portfolio. We are one of the top suppliers of power management product portfolio. What we have highlighted here are some parts specifically applicable for battery-operated devices.
Okay.
Some of the LDOs. When you think of IoT devices, battery-operated ones specifically, the system or the subsystem within a device that's always awake, it's always doing something, is your power management.
Yeah.
And it's important to optimize your power management for low quiescent or low leakage current. And NCP 170, which is an LDO that does exactly that. And other instances, it is important to have a very good PSRR, which is critical when you're trying to sense very sensitive things. And we do have NCP 163 LDO that enables one to do that.
Okay.
So we could spend a whole day talking about all the power products ON has that are relevant to IoT, but these just give you a flavor of some of the IoT power management products that we have.
Excellent. Now, I know that IoT designs are involving motor control a lot lately, right?
Absolutely. I mean, think of robotics. Or think of a lot of other applications where you're connecting an actuator and or a sensor. And when you think of actuation, motors are critical for that. We do have a pretty extensive product line for motor control. And in keeping with the theme of helping our customers make sure they get to a solution as quickly as possible, we do offer modules as well as hardware kits, and they come with a GUI and API so that you can develop your solution and get to market as quickly as possible.
Excellent. All right, let's talk about those kits. I want to get started. What do you guys got for me?
Yes, that's a very valid question. Okay, the great product portfolio. Now, what do I do with that? Right. And for the last few years, one of the things we are focused on is putting all of these solutions together in a kit format and exposing it to our customers so that they can quickly prototype their application and come up with an optimized solution. And also knowing that the parts or products that you're using in this prototyping are extremely low power, you can be guaranteed that when you go to productization, you will have an extremely low power IoT device.
Yeah.
And to that end, what we have is our IoT development kit.
Okay.
And think of this kit as Lego blocks, right? We do have different hardware pieces that can be mix and match to create the application of choice. You do have connectivity choices, sensing choices, actuation choices, and then it runs on embed operating system. It comes with a nice IDE for users to develop their own code. And what sort of applications can you prototype on this? Think of applications targeted towards smart homes or predictive maintenance, smart buildings, personal IoT solutions, or even smart city solutions. And what we've done with respect to Kit, as we talked about earlier, was to make sure we've partnered and provide an end-to-end solution to our customers. Right out of the box, it does come with a cloud connectivity.
Nice.
So you can be up and running in 10 minutes or less and have a solution where you're sensing something or you're actuating something, have the data go all the way to the cloud. So our goal with this is to make sure you can prototype your solution as rapidly as possible. And we round it out by providing a mobile app as well.
Oh, okay.
So customers can develop, and especially when you use Bluetooth as the connectivity solution for your application, it does come with a configurable mobile app that is applicable for your particular application.
Cool. I'm sold. What's exactly in the kit?
So when you look at the kit from a hardware standpoint, on the right, it's got a baseboard which houses the compute element. And there are a whole bunch of daughter cards that provide sensing functionality, connectivity functionality, as well as actuation functionality. When it comes to sensing options, we do provide ambient light sensing, a proximity touch sensor, environmental sensors, and remember the battery-free sensors we spoke about, which can be used in hard-to-access areas and which are maintenance-free. So all those sensors come as daughter cards to plug onto the main baseboard, which is running a Cortex M3 processor. And from a connectivity standpoint, we do have CAN bus and PoE for wired applications. We do have Sigfox, Bluetooth Low Energy, and 802.15.4 radios available as connectivity daughter cards. We have support for BLDC, brushless DC motors, stepper motors, and LED lighting solutions. And of course, all the power management stuff is coming from Semiconductors. That's a quick listing of all the hardware features available on this kit. So you can mix and match depending on your application. Let's say you're interested in Bluetooth Low Energy and you want a lighting application. You pick and choose your lighting shield, your Bluetooth connectivity shield, attach them to the baseboard, and off you go. When it comes to software, we run Embed Operating System. This is real-time OS from ARM. We do provide an Eclipse-based integrated development environment for software developers to develop and build code on top of the use cases that we provide by default with the kit. We do use standard IoT protocols like MQTT and TCP, HTTP, and all the APIs are all REST-based. Right out of the box, it comes with cloud support for a couple of cloud providers, but since the protocol is used as standard, you can choose other cloud providers that you want to connect to. And the kit also comes with a mobile app. It's applicable in cases where there is a Bluetooth connected to your device.
Okay, so I can imagine there's a whole bunch of cool applications that I could use this kit for.
Absolutely. In fact, one of the reasons why we made this modular is so that multiple applications can be prototyped with the same basic configuration.
Yeah.
And hence, you have all these connectivity boards and sensing boards, all are separate. We could have gone and put everything on one board, but we chose to make it modular so that you can pick and choose what you want. And depending on your application, for example, lighting application or smart window, smart shutter kind of applications, or you're using some sort of a smart vending machine and you want to quickly prototype a solution, you can pick and choose different sensing and connectivity solutions. So what we've done with this kit is to provide these building blocks that users can use to create the application of their choice. And I'll give you some examples on what can be done. For example, let's say you're building a lighting solution.
Okay.
What you do is you take the baseboard, and if you wanted to have a simple lighting solution, think of a home setting, right? You have a motion sensor, you sense there's some motion and turn on some lights. You take the IDK baseboard, the IoT development kit baseboard, hook it up with the motion sensor and the LED. And since right out of the box, it does come with cloud connectivity, you can even stream the data to the cloud. This is the base use case. You can build upon this to create a more elaborate situation. If you are a lighting customer, you want to quickly demonstrate on how this whole thing works, you want to take it to your boss, you can be up and running in few minutes by putting all of these together. Or let's say you're in an industrial setting or a building setting where Ethernet is common, and let's say power over Ethernet is available.
Yeah.
So we do have a connectivity shield that can help you prototype a power over Ethernet plus lighting solution using the IDK. Some other examples would be connected wellness.
Sure.
You want to monitor like an activity tracker or some other mHealth kind of solutions where you're getting some data.
Yeah.
Health-related data, and then you want to use Bluetooth to transmit it to your phone or to the cloud. Again, for a real product, obviously, you will have to go through certifications and things like that. But for prototyping activity, to flush out all the flaws in the system, the IoT kit is ideal. You could hook up different hardware pieces. The software is right there. It's easy to use. You can put all of those solutions together and have it sent to the cloud. Last but not least, one of the biggest applications we see in the industrial space is predictive maintenance.
Yeah.
You want to know when your appliance or device is about to go bad, not after. Downtimes are costly.
Right.
So predictive maintenance is an area of focus for a lot of industrial customers. And in fact, even for white goods makers, they want to know, they want to tell you, hey, look, it's time to replace your compressor, or it's time to replace this particular component. It's about to go bad.
Yeah.
And especially if you are trying to monitor hard to access areas, for example, you could use the smart passive sensors we talked about earlier. And since the kit allows you to put all of these together, you could test out your solution very quickly and make sure that you've worked out all the kinks in the flow and then productize it. So the IoT development kit in that sense enables a lot of different use cases, a lot of different applications that you can prototype and quickly move on to the productization stage. And in some cases, maybe right at the start of the design, you're not entirely sure which particular protocol to use.
Yeah.
You can always come back because it's a modular kit. All the work that you've done is not going to go waste. You can just switch boards and get a different set of functionality.
Nice.
So we hope that customers can use this kit and develop their IoT applications rapidly and get to market soon. And we provide all the necessary support to enable that.
Very cool. This has been awesome, Pavan. Let's recap your main points real quick.
So we at Semiconductor are also a big believer in the societal and economic benefits of IoT.
Yeah.
There is no denying it's not a question of if, it's more of a question of when.
Right.
And towards that, when we looked around our portfolio, the things that jumped out were energy efficiency. Energy efficiency or battery life is going to be a key issue for most IoT devices.
Sure.
You cannot have an IoT solution where you need to replace battery every single year. You're talking like tens of years.
Yes.
So our focus has been about energy efficiency. So all of our connectivity solutions, all of our sensing solutions are geared towards that.
Nice.
I also want to add that the image sensors we have address a completely different class of problems today that we see in the marketplace, especially when you think about vision IoT, industrial automation, robotics, drones, etc. We do have a pretty comprehensive image sensing technology that will make your products truly differentiated. Semiconductor, of course, is a global company. It has support centers all over the world, and we have a huge manufacturing scale as well. So when you combine all of those things, and when you look at all the different building blocks that go into an IoT solution, like sensing, connectivity, your control, power management, when it comes to IoT devices, you should think ON.
Excellent. Well, I think that's all I have time for today. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Amelia. Thank you.
And before we go, you didn't forget to click that link, did you? There you can find out more information about energy-efficient IoT designs from Semiconductor. For Chalk Talks, I'm Amelia Dalton from eejournal.com. For more Chalk Talks, head on over to the Chalk Talk section of EE Journal or head on over to YouTube. Keyword EE Journal.